Alright, so I'm going to work on finishing up the East of the Moon, West of the Sun quest line for the Raven's Legacy. So it says I need to go further up. Gotta wait for this thing. I didn't want to accidentally trigger it because I don't know if it's going to go into a thing automatically or if I have to talk to somebody. Oh shit. That was a close. Oops. That was silly of me. Tolfin. Tolfin, what are you doing here? Ah, fantastic. Just the duo I was waiting for. Huh? How did you know we would come here? Have you been following us since we parted at Blue Amber Lake? Haha, I was only joking. I came back to visit my parents and just so happened to be running errands here in Pyramida when I spotted the two of you. Paimon sees... Huh? So you have family here? What's strange about that? Just like a raven is born to raven parents, people don't magically appear out of thin air. That's not what Paimon meant. Though, come to think of it, we're not really that close, and Paimon can see how it was kind of a personal question. Can I ask a question that isn't so personal? Good idea. Tolfin knows everyone and everything. He just might have the info we need. Okay, you recount your experiences searching for and finding the proofs of cognoscenti after leaving Blue Amber Lake. So, Tolfin, do you have an idea where the last proof of cognoscenti might be? I do have a few thoughts. However, seeing as it's Traveler, he'll probably be fine. From everything I've heard about your adventures, I believe he should be able to overcome the trial. There's another trial? It isn't going to be impossible, is it? Then why didn't you tell us about it back at Blue Amber Lake? Well, the fact we can meet here again is a sign that our fates are somehow intertwined. Rather than dwell on the past, we should look toward the future instead. Wow, that change of subject couldn't have felt any more forced if you tried. Ahem. The proof of cognoscenti is actually with my grandmother. I'm on my way to visit her now. Why don't you tag along? Seriously? What are the chances? Tolfin's grandmother. What do you think she's like, Traveler? Do you think she's kind of the kind of sweet old lady who loves to tell stories? She does tell stories, but never mind. You'll see when we get there. Oh, this lady. I remember seeing her. There is something about something buried here, and that's what I was going bonkers trying to find as well. Well, well, well. Look who's remembered to visit. Did you come take care of that matter for me, you little brats? Of course I did. Would I dare show my face here if I hadn't? Ahem. This is my grandmother, though I'm sure she'd rather be known as Hildetta, the Black Barrel Hag, than a failed merchant's grandmother. She doesn't look anything like Tolfin at all. She's far too serious. I hear that a lot, but at the end of the day, we're family, and we're a lot more alike than people think. This is Traveler, and this is Paimon. They've already found the other proofs of the cognoscenti. Oh, so you've already found the other 4? Well, that takes some real talent, but I'm afraid you're going to have to let me see that talent for myself. Seeing as that the brat brought you in, I wouldn't make things too hard for you. How about we just trade a few moves? Hold on a second. Something about this doesn't feel right. And what exactly is the problem? If you want to get your hands on the great treasure, you'll naturally need to get past me first. She's a stubborn old bag of bones, but once she sees what you can do, everything will be on the table. Come on, Traveler, it's in your hands now.
Watch and learn. These old bones. I never
Be silent. Close your eyes. Fear the dark.
Not bad at all. You do have promise. Here, this is the proof of cognoscenti you've been seeking. But if you want to claim the great treasure, there's still one final path you'll have to tread. Not that it'll hold him back. Not considering how sharp the little lad is. He's a far more fitting heir to the treasure hoarders than you are, you useless lump. Heir to the treasure hoarders? Me? Huh? So Granny is a treasure hoarder? And Tolfin? You too? I guess you could say that. Paimon never would have guessed. You don't look like a treasure hoarder. Don't tell Paimon you knew about this all along, traveler. I figured it out pretty quickly. Yeah. He did have that weasel thief that was traveling with him. Don't tell me you didn't explain it to them. Were you really planning to deliver the great treasure to a couple of know-nothings who couldn't tell a treasure hoarder if they introduced themselves and brought them to their grandmother? They've shown they have what it takes to gather the proofs of cognoscenti, and they handled your challenge just fine. In fact, weren't you praising them just now? You little. All right, don't give yourself a heart attack. I'll explain everything to them right now. I'll see to it that Traveler is willing to be the treasure hoarder's heir, exactly as you wanted. And you really think you can make all that clear to them, lickety-split? What are you so worried about? You won't shut up about how I'm just like that good-for-nothing Brahi. At least I inherited his gift for smooth talking, didn't I? Dolphin leads you to a quiet corner to talk. So what's really going on here? All we heard is that if we collect all 5 proofs of the cognoscenti, we can find the great treasure hidden east of the moon, west of the sun. Are you seriously telling Paimon that we'd have to take over as leaders of the treasure hoarders just to get Reed Miller's treasure? Honestly, all this air talk is weirding Paimon out. It's hard to imagine anyone leading the treasure hoarders. Exactly. There are people who call themselves treasure hoarders in every corner of Teyvat these days. And that's where the problem lies. While we might be able to face reality, my stubborn old grandmother still dreams of a day when the treasure hoarders can restore their glory from the days of Reed Miller. She fantasizes that someone will come along and rally the masses, let the dead bury the dead, and rise to build an asylum for the hungry and the poor on the wealth of the high and haughty. Well, most of us have heard how Reed Miller stole from the rich to help the poor. Very few know that the treasure hoarders once defended Elysium from the dark abyss. It was the treasure hoarders' golden age. It was the worst of times, and yet somehow it was also the best. I don't know. Maybe things are still the same today, but that era has passed, and she'll have to accept that someday. You're not wrong, but what are we supposed to do about it? Before we go any further, Traveler, are you willing to serve as heir to the treasure hoarders and see that Reed Miller's dream is one day fulfilled? I have my own dreams to fulfill. Just as I thought. Then how about we do it this way? Let's put on a little show. Again? That's what you said back at Blue Amber Lake. Sure, you helped us get the proof of the cognoscenti back then, but who knows when you'll use those same sneaky tricks on us. Why would I do anything to thwart when we're already such good friends? Now, instead of being suspicious, how about we focus on what we're going to say? You have a brief discussion with Tolfin about how to convince Jeddah. According to Tolfin, simply mention the name Arvalarn should be enough to gain her trust, and if she ever brings up the name Brahi, all you have to say is that you don't agree with his methods. As for these two people actually are, Tolfin says is a story and promises to explain everything in detail when he gets the chance. So, what do you say, little lad? Are you in? I will fulfill Arvalarn's dream, whatever that is. Good, that's the spirit. If it weren't for the little brat acting like that, good-for-nothing Brahi, proof the cognoscenti would have been scattered and lost for so long. We're nothing like Tolfin, or that Brahi Macaulay fellow. You can rest assured. Even if I have to admit the traveler is the most suitable candidate to inherit the great treasure. Then it's settled. All that's left is for you to retrieve the great treasure. All the treasure sight, you'll likely run into a few tricks left behind by that good-for-nothing. Huh. I'm sure you'll be able to handle anything he came up with. Paimon still has no idea where east of the moon, west of the sun could be. Oh, that. Well, it's beyond the horizon, yet so close you can touch it. Also, I won't be joining you for the next trial, so here's wishing you all the best. Still, I'll be in Paramita for a little while longer, so please let me know if everything goes well. I'm counting on the both of you. Alright, so I finally get the final piece, and I know where it is because it's literally marked on my map. Okay. Open. Confirm. It's literally a drop. Yo. Don't want to take fall damage. Oh, that was water. Let me remove that marker on the map because it's going to bug me. Okay. I just saw a weasel thief. And there's more weasel thieves. Gold is noble and silver bright, but which metal would truly please the iron-faced gatekeeper's sight? As the saying goes, like calls to like, so perhaps the answer is already cut and dried. A line of tiny text is written in the corner of the notice, easy to miss if one isn't paying attention. And if all else fails, winning by brute force still makes you the hero. Go ahead and go around, investigate the shinies. Pick up the metal key, and there we go. That was a very easy riddle. Strange iron coin. Can't read any of the books, so it's whatever. Oh, something triggered. Oh, that. What? It dig up an explosive barrel? This is getting super dangerous. Dude. I just want to check out the weasel den. Suspicious note. Within this little plot, both danger and luck are found. To tell the fake from the real, look where this strange rock lights the ground. A line of tiny text is written in the corner of the notice, easy to miss if one isn't paying attention. That main gate is locked down hard, so don't bother trying until the skies fall apart. Need a specific key. Okay. Mentioned stone. Let's read it again. Within this little plot, both danger and luck are found. To tell the fake from the real, look where the strange rock lights the ground. No, it's not a trap. They're just tricking you. You didn't even let me read the note. Let clanging iron coins fall and halt right at its feet. The greedy weasel thieves are lured only by the tinkling of iron coins. Pick up an iron coin and throw it at the fleeing weasel thieves to make them stop their tracks. The stubborn weasel digs the dirt. It hurries from unseen. The key is given darkly where the moving shadows screen. Let clanging iron coins fall and halt right at its feet. A forceful calm may yet yield a bounty sweet. The tagline of text is written in the corner of the notice. Easy to miss if one isn't paying attention. Little ones have picky taste, so use what they like to tease out their trace. Okay. How? Wait, how do I do the coin thing? Do I need to find some first? Yeah, I do. Okay.
Be silent.
That's not what I want to do. I want to do this. Ha.
Observe.
Okay. Huh. Okay. Oh look, the last waypoint I need to unlock. And it automatically triggered. Okay. And I got an achievement, so grab that real quick. I just need to do the Shrine of Depth thing. Okay. There is so much to explore.
Oh.
I guess I'll do this thing first and explore the area. Okay, we have to look around anyways. Paimon says that we need a few iron coins, so... The arrangement of the treasure vault is pretty much complete. Without the help of these little weasel friends, I'd have no idea how to transport so many iron coins here without anyone noticing. So to commemorate their service and hard work, I'll call these little critters weasel thieves and grant them the title of official treasure hoarders from now on. Just kidding. If Miss Alia knew in the afterlife that I was giving wild weasels such absurd names, she'd probably jump right out of the pillar of Embla and beat me up. There's no way I can call them that, unless of course I were to write poetry in the future and fail to come up with any other name. Or if no other name would make the rhythm and meter work. I have to say, Father had a real eye for hiding secret funds. This place is so well concealed that not only would it be unlikely for anyone to stumble upon it, even wild weasels would have a hard time squeezing in here without guidance. It's such a pity that his foresight was only ever extended so far. Even when Rotrong used him up to the hilt, he never harbored the slightest suspicion. Ultimately, the secret funds he hid here back then were only stolen because those two old geezers, Arvalane and Sylvester, came snooping around and coaxed the words out of me. By Her Majesty the Tsaritsa. I was only 5 years old. The two young men playing good cop and bad cop, using both carrot and stick to get a 5-year-old to talk. What normal human could come up with that? Actually, forget humans. What normal Fey, Jinn, Seelie, Spectre, Luck, Folk, Phantasm, or whatever creature would even think of this? Sacred heirs of the Frostmoon Scions, indeed, what rotten, immoral behavior. Father chewed me out for 3 days afterwards, and even the patriarch vacation I'd been promised got washed out. That said, that place got washed out later too. What's more infuriating is that when I brought this up to Sylvester a while ago, he actually claimed he couldn't recall how he deceived me back then. Just that Avalarn, whatever, claiming to want the children to lead better lives. I completely understood their thoughts and actions. Return all the wealth fire had plundered to those poor children. It was the right thing to do, but really, did they have to do it through me? Was I the sole avenue through which a breakthrough could have been made, gentlemen? Besides, and Sylvester probably doesn't know this, the secret funds they stole, pretending to be the chivalrous outlaws who robbed the rich to help the poor, were back in Father's coffers in less than 3 days. Several times the original amount extorted from other sources. Those self-important profiteers can always rake in wealth without lifting a finger, while the venal sycophants who surround them twist it into proof of their master's innate diligence and wisdom. No one could become that rich otherwise, surely. The game of robbing the rich to feed the poor only adds weight to the shackles of the impoverished. As Miss Alia's terrifying, gloomy sister once told me, no matter how pure the water of goodwill, if it falls on soil poisoned with malice, seeds of evil are the only things that will grow. Arvaline probably realized this eventually, but his Asilium, no matter how firmly he believed it existed on Earth, remained much too far from those truly suffering in poverty. After all, how can someone who has never known a moment of kindness, someone constantly insulted and harmed, be expected to believe they should love their neighbor, or even their enemies? Neither Arvalane nor Miss Alia had ever answered that question. They were both kind people who imagined people to be better than they really were, believing that virtues and ideals could overcome the evil breed by circumstance. Unfortunately, I am just a selfish nobleman, and I lack their kindness. I suspect Arvaline felt the same. After all, in his eyes, there was probably only ever been one truly kind noble in this world. The things I've witnessed leave me unable to hold such idealistic confidence in human nature. It's barely been a decade since Miss Alia's sacrifice, and those bandits who scattered like frightened birds and beasts have already begun brazenly misusing Arvaline's words to justify their atrocities against the innocent. Whether it's wandering merchants barely scraping by or overworked laborers starving for the next meal, anyone could be labeled a lackey of princes or a traitor who betrays his brothers and neighbors, and therefore ripe for noble robbery. Those who come before overcame evil with noble ideals. Now the bandits who claim to be their successors have the same banner, declaring that anyone who opposes them is an enemy of those noble ideals, thus embodying the very evil that was once defeated. I can send the bandits who commit atrocities to the name of Reed Miller and oppress the laboring poor to the Eye of Krati, where they'll sleep with the fishes for good. In fact, I've already done so, but what about after I die? Who can guarantee that those once noble ideals won't be twisted into crimes even I can't imagine? Alhamar could not guarantee it. Aranis could not guarantee it. Jablanc could not guarantee it. The noble lords of Mondstadt aristocracy failed to guarantee it, nor could the Fast Moon Scions guarantee it. And some so-called master thief Reed Miller will surely fail to guarantee it. Evil comes from humanity as naturally as honey from a hive. I'm neither Arveline nor Sylvester nor Miss Alia, who enchants me so. I cannot place all my hope in human nature the way they did. I don't want the name of Master Thief Reed Miller to fade into history, forgotten by all. What's more, I want that name and the ideals it once stood for to be twisted by future villains and reviled by the public. Hence, there's only one solution I can think of. Let these so-called ideals be buried by history. Let us smother them beneath countless contradictory, absurd, laughable, yet irresistible stories until every trace of meaning is worn away and only a sweeping legend remains. This way, anyone who commits evil in our name will never be mistaken for a serious idolist. Rather, they shall be dismissed as childish dreamers drunk on romantic tales. Greed always outlasts ideals. At least that's what I believe. As long as the tale of the great treasure continues to be told, there will always be gamblers dreaming of making a fortune overnight, repeating the name of the master thief Reed Miller endlessly. Better a harmless name, one that lets the poor laugh from the heart, one that gives them just a little more courage to face tomorrow, than a banner that villains would seek to claim. If the rebels of some future age truly need a new banner, they will find a hero who belongs in their time. And whatever that hero's name may be, it should never be Master Thief Reed Miller. Huh. That was an interesting excerpt. Okay, let's check the bottom levels. It's way back up to there. Actually, let's check over here real quick. Sylvester's departed in the end. This should be the last time I return here to pen notes. I was planning to burn everything I'd written before, but after burning half of it, I thought about it and gave up on the endeavor. Better leave something behind, because apart from this, there's really nothing else. In accordance with his own wishes, his funeral was remarkably quiet. The handful of lightkeepers he trained personally shed no tears for him, which is understandable. If I could live to his age, free from illness and disaster, returning peacefully to the earth, I wouldn't want others to weep for me either. Besides, Lightkeepers are well accustomed to parting with the dead. Ayla, that's a different person, didn't come to his funeral. I assumed she had no idea, so I made a special trip to Hisi Island. The place had been nearly demolished, with only the central grand temple and the tower to the north remaining. Her maid, whose name I cannot recall, though I remember Ayla saying that she was an adopted orphan from foreign lands, spoke to me timidly, saying that the Lady Moonchanter had long known of my coming and was aware of the Lightkeeper's affairs. She had no intention of seeing me and asked me to leave. If she doesn't want to see me, so be it. Not that there'd be much to say if we did meet anyway. Of course. Whoa. I never imagined that someone would find the treasure vault just 3 weeks after I'd set it up. What surprised me even more was that I actually recognized the person. I never thought into him here. Dmitry Drubavash, something or other, trusted aide of the Grand Duke Filipov, third-class military officer, chief instructor of the Shiznayan Royal Military Academy. If I remember correctly, he was promoted to this position the year Arveline enrolled, occupying said cushy, lucrative position until the Conrian disaster. He would even host foreign dignitaries occasionally, such as the Commander-in-Chief of Fontaine's Great White Armada, the Grand Master of Grand Master of Mondstadt's Knights of Favonius. In short, he was a real show-off. According to the official records, he had long since died alongside His Majesty the Tsar, sacrificing himself for the nation. Not that this is anything new, even Arveline once appeared as deceased in the records. One can always rely on the unreliability of the Shiznayan civil system. What surprised me was that the old man before me seemed almost entirely different from the spirited, haughty, and overbearing officer I once remembered. I don't know what he endured, but he looked far more gaunt and aged than his years. The moment he saw me, his first instinct was to draw his sword and strike. Luckily, I reacted in time, pairing his blade with Arveline's gauntlet and shouting his name. He froze for a moment, muttering incoherently for a while. It was as if he hadn't used human speech in ages. Finally, he forced out his first phrase, asking who I was. I'd spent a long time talking with the old man. He said he no longer remembered me, but he remembered my father's name. Of course, he'd abandoned his own noble title and name long ago, choosing instead to spend the rest of his life protecting the children at the borderlands, those homeless children wandering through wastelands. At first, I thought he built a shelter. I didn't realize the children had never even seen him. He slew the wicked villains who sought to harm them out of their sight. As for why he did it, what truly happened in Conria and how he ended up in nod-krai, he refused to say. Naturally, I didn't press further. The old man had absolutely no interest in treasure, and hadn't even heard of the rumors I'd spread about the great treasure. He simply felt that something was off about this place, suspected it was a slaver's camp, and, following his instincts, stormed in with the intention of taking me out on the spot. After I finished explaining the thought process behind the treasure vault, the old man fell silent for a moment. He said that if a student had proposed such a ridiculous scheme back when he was chief instructor, he would have thrown it straight back and ordered them to start over. As for now, he didn't finish speaking, simply leaving in silence. The old man's right. If someone else were to stumble in here the same way, guided by nothing but sharp instincts, then the entire plan would be pointless. I need a way to make this place nearly impossible to find, yet draw people towards more attainable goals. I've got an idea, but first I need to talk to Ayla and see if she's willing to help me. She probably would. After all, turning the story of Master Thief Reed Miller into the proof of cognoscenti, at least that's what I'll call it for now, would also serve as a tribute to Miss Alia. Okay. There's another sheet over here. I'll look for that later. To you, my esteemed guest who has gathered all the proof of cognoscenti, if you're reading this note, it means you successfully solved my puzzle. Congratulations, well done. Now, the legendary great treasure you're looking for is right in front of you. You're welcome. Please enjoy yourself. These unclaimed riches are the spoils due to the cognoscenti. However, as the founder of the treasure hoarders, I would like to give you one more piece of advice. No matter who you are, exposing mountains of wealth to the light of day, flaunting it in pursuit of glory and vanity, thereby attracting the envy and covetous eyes of countless onlookers, it is not a wise move. Please take these treasures, which belong to you alone, away quietly. Then remove this note and pretend you never found anything. Let people believe that the proof of the cognoscenti still lies scattered across every corner of this continent, waiting to be gathered by those fortunate few chosen by fate. Let the story continue to circulate. Let those who dream of sudden riches continue their hard work. This way, the wealth you've obtained after countless trials will sit much more safely in your hands. Okay, and then down here. Oh.
Cleanup sequence initiated. Flash attack! You're not going anywhere! Hand it over!
Close your eyes. Night falls. Observe. Night falls. Are you quite finished?
Ding dong glitter bomb! Sheila! Preparing for dust up.
I read that one. Huh. I guess the other notes have been removed. I mean, it did say he burned half of them and then decided not to do it anymore. Well, that's an interesting little trick. Stored on a ship underground. Okay, so before I open these, Dum-Dum Me didn't open up the interactive map on my phone so I can check locations. Okay. Should have done this earlier, especially now that the whole thing's changed. Okay. So, the other chest, let's do the one that was down here first. This one is here. That is not on the mini-map. Okay. That means the other one won't be either. So these three chests are the ones right by the edge here. So these are the ones here.
not to be sniffed at.
Rumors about proof of the cognoscenti have been spread. Once people know that a key exists, they won't go out of their way to find alternative means of entry. All I have to do now is fabricate a few tales of treasure hunters who tried to take shortcuts but came up empty-handed, then spread them under the names of Brahi the Bard and Grand Duke Trubregeski? Sky? Whatever. That should be more than enough to convince further generations of the necessity to seek the power of the proof of cognoscenti. Like his greedy father, the new Duke Trubregeski heard rumors of the treasure and schemed to seize even the gifts the master thief had left for the poor. And what magnificent treasure it was. More splendid than the gold of Hisi, more dazzling than the silver of Keskagard, or Ketsagard. Even the flesh and blood of the Lord of Geo could scarcely measure its worth. Such was the vast hoard of iron coins the master thief left behind, wealth enough to shake the very economy of the northern lands. Wait, that's not right. If I were to list the treasure's contents outright, some people would lose interest. Such was the treasure that the master thief left behind, wealth enough to shake the very economy of the northern lands. Even a bard with such nimble lips and silver tongue as I could scarcely recount it in full. Alright, that'll do. And lastly, I'll spin something about how the new Grand Duke Trubregeski was everly bested by the master thief's companion, a beauty known as Wagtail. As long as it's written in a significantly dashing manner, I'm sure Miss Alia wouldn't mind. Look, it mentions Brahi over here. Looks like he was the one who made these records. So, iron coins were really the currency here back in the day. That means a mountain of these things could truly be called a great treasure. If only we'd come here a few hundred years ago, we'd be rich. But iron coins aren't worth much more these days. As I say, value lies in scarcity. Exactly. So if we can find this prototype iron coin he wrote about, collectors are sure to go crazy for it. Paimon bets we could get a pretty penny for that one. Too bad we don't know where it's buried. Ugh, are we really supposed to dig up this whole place by ourselves? We'll get a dressing down from the Black Barrel Hag if we don't. Oh yeah, you're right. You mustn't get on the wrong side of her. You might be able to handle her attacks, but Paimon will have to fly far, far away. And speaking of the Black Barrel Hag, now that Paimon has seen Brahi's notes and all these iron coins, she finally understood why that old hag wants to bring back the good old days. To her, those days must have been the real Elysium, excuse me. Paimon thinks we're living in a pretty wonderful time, too. You and Paimon and all the friends we've met on our journey, this is our golden age. That's probably how Tulfin feels as well. He chose not to share the full history of the treasure hoarders with us because he didn't want us to bear the weight of expectation. It looks like this adventure ends here. Getting all 5 proofs of the cognoscenti wasn't easy, and Paimon knows it was far from a fruitless journey, but she can't help feeling a little disappointed. By the way, why do you think this ship is here? Maybe it's a ship of dreams that ran aground before it ever set sail. That must mean this is the treasure hoarder's secret dock. Hundreds of years have passed now, and the local geography's changed. Paimon figures it's probably never going to get the chance. That's such a shame. Even though the ship is hundreds of years old, it still looks almost new. Traveling around is so much easier if we had a boat as big as this, don't you think? I'll be the captain, and Paimon, you can be the chief mate. Aye aye, Captain Traveler. Tying the jib to the mizzen mast and raising the port side anchor to load line, Captain. Hee, how convincing is Paimon's chief matiness? Come on, take the helm and let's set sail. I'm gonna laugh if it starts rising up out of the ground. Bounties, islands up ahead. Nothing about it looks particularly special. Oh, it's not giving me a chance to actually read it. Oh no, now it is. Right. Nope, it's still not. Don't worry, we still have a few more days before the drill's over, and by the time the... Yep, nope, I can't... It has an option to continue it, but it's forcing me to continue. Oh, are you actually going to let me read this now? Ha! So this is what Bounty Island looks like. I guess it really does live up to its name. What are we going to do with the loot? Same as usual? Though, if we're taking it back to Grad, why not give it to the kids on the streets? I ran into them a few days ago while out on a patrol. That kid with the conch shell struck me as a smart one. They'll know what to do with the treasure, and who best to share it with. Suits me. Let's do it your way. But compared to the treasures on display in the governor's palace, these little trinkets are hardly worth the bother. Even in the backwater like this, those arrogant fools still indulge in their outrageous extravagance. Their shiny facade can't hide the fact they're already rotten to the core. Have you seen it yet? This place is no different from Grad. Are we really supposed to fight to protect people like this? And protect them from those who have no quarrel with them? The unseen, the downtrodden and disposed? I understand your anger, but there's not much we can do. There's not much we can do right now, but sooner or later, we have to upturn the status quo to weed out the corruption root and stem. I must rise to the top, by any means necessary. I count myself lucky to have ended up fighting by your side, Sylve, but I often find myself looking back to where I came from. It's a place my brothers and sisters remain, where they continue to endure hardships they should never have to bear. Tell me, those innocent souls, were they born to suffer like this? If it's the law that is causing their suffering, then I shall rewrite the law, and if it's the corrupt nobles, then I shall purge them from their ranks. One day, I'll raise an Elysium that belongs to us on this land, and land that has always belonged to us. Well, yeah. Wasn't that the person that was helping the professor build that tower thing or something? Or was he the one that was the professor? I forget which. But that name sounds familiar. I believe in you, Relia. I know you can accomplish your dream. Let's not talk about that now. Even thieves have their code, so I'll leave this behind. That way, the governor will know who took his treasure. It's just a pity I won't get to see his reaction myself. Haha, that'd be a sight to behold. Huh? What? What just happened? We found a treasure hoarder ship under a pile of iron coins. Then you took the helm. After that, it felt like a dream. And then somehow, you'd appear. Those two, they mentioned something called Brahi. Either it's a crazy coincidence or they must be from a long, long time ago. At the very least, we know they have a connection to this place. Yeah, and from what they were saying, there was once some treasure buried here, and even though they made off with it, it seems they left something else in its place. It's been so long, who knows if someone's already dug it up by now. Let's see if we can find it first. It can't hurt to look. If Paimon remembers correctly, it should be somewhere around here. Paimon can't believe it's still here. Why didn't the governor come to collect it? Oh, it's the original treasure hunter coin. Or treasure hoarder's coin, excuse me. Huh? This is what they left here? Isn't this... Huh, Paimon doesn't understand. Let's ask Tolfin about it. Oh, Paimon almost forgot. We should tell him what happened with the great treasure, too. Oh, goody. Now I have these treasures.
Perhaps these treasures might be of utility to you on your journey. Please, I insist.
Okay. What are you? Trying to mark these. There we go. It's being very slow today. There we go. So that's done. If it isn't Traveler and Paimon, have you two found the great treasure already? If you mean that pile of old iron coins, we left those iron coins exactly where we found them. Well, actually, they're on top now. You tell Dolphin what happened at the treasure site and the strange things that happened after you boarded the ship. For some reason, they left behind some sort of raven insignia. It seems that Earth remembers far more than we could ever imagine. As a storyteller, I can't help but feel humbled by that. After all, human life is fleeting and oral history is prone to errors. Some stories may even be lost forever, yet the Earth's memories no doubt remains true. I think it could only have been Arvaline who left that raven insignia. You may be more familiar with another name of his, Reed Miller. Huh? You mean that was the legendary thief, Reed Miller? I would never have guessed by looking at him. From what you described, the things you saw almost certainly happened before the treasure hoarders were even formed. It said that, back then, he liked to play the role of heroic thief with his military academy buddies, stealing from the rich and helping the poor. In fact, that raven insignia was derived from the family crest of his noble-born academy classmate. But that's all in the past, so I shan't bore you with the details. Anyway, seeing as our fates appear to be intertwined, how about you two take this raven insignia as a keepsake? I assume accepting this doesn't automatically make me the treasure hoarder's heir. There's no need to worry. Like I said, the golden age of the treasure hoarders is over. However, there is still one slight problem. My stubborn grandmother seems to have taken a liking to you. If she ever asks you for a friendly sparring match, please don't turn her down. And don't pull your punches either. Whoa, she's so much stronger than a regular old lady. We wouldn't dream of doing anything but pummeling her with everything we've got. Well then, the great treasure buried east of the moon, west of the sun, has been claimed by a pair of remarkable adventurers, and this performance too has come to its close. Allow me to play a tune to express my wish that every step of your journey be filled with mystery and every path may bring you jubilation. All right. I finally completed the Raven's Legacy, which I have to go over to here to turn in. And there we go. Let's do this. All right, so that's going to be it for this storyline, and I'll see you guys later.